IBC, down Gateful 33 here to do what is somewhere between a finds video and a show and tell. So I will reveal all. So yeah, last year during the pandemic, a colleague at work who knows I collect records said that he had his late father's records at home, and also his partner, she had her late father's records, and they didn't know what to do with them. So I said, well, I can give you some advice, have a look. But obviously I couldn't. We were in the middle of a pandemic. He's in the north of England, I'm in the south of England. So what he did was I suggested he just did some quick flick videos through the records, send them to me on WhatsApp. I had a look at them and from what I saw, was able to kind of at least kind of give him a clue. And what transpired was basically it was typically two, should we say, older people's record collections, as you would expect to find in the most, but there were also some interesting records, not outstanding, but some interesting records in there, which I might reveal over this kind of series if I choose to. So one of the guys, or one of the fathers, seemed to collect soulful type records, and clearly been to Africa at some point. There are a lot of African records, mostly from Zimbabwe, so not your West Coast funk, unfortunately. So I thought, well, that's quite interesting. And the other one was, there was some sort of light jazz and bossa type stuff, and some female singer-songwriters. Again, nothing outstanding, but what I ended up doing was I went through it and said, look, to be honest, 3/4 of it is charity shop material, and you could try and sell it at car boot sales, but I was honest with him, so you'd be lugging it around for months and probably not sell a lot. So but I said there was about 100 records that I said, I'll buy all those off you as well. But so we left it at that because couldn't do anything about it because of the pandemic, and I wasn't driving up. It wasn't worth my while driving up north to see them. So we left it at that until this June, beginning of June, when the lockdown conditions had eased, and his mother lives only about an hour and a half away, an hour and a half north. So he was going down to see his mother. So I said, well, take the records, I'll drive up, swap them over, I'll come back, I'll do a quick check, because I had no idea of the quality of the vinyl, whether it was scratched to pieces, and I'd just seen him flicking through. I didn't even know what some of the pressings were. So we did that, and I ended up buying them. We agreed a price and I bought them, and I have listened to 5 of them. So this is 5 records from the box. Already about 20 or so of, I'm not keeping there. When I've checked them over, they weren't. But overall, it was still worth paying the price for the lot. Okay, so here's a kind of first 5 that I've delved into. First up is one of the African records. So Chikonzi is the album title, which I assume translates to messenger, as that's in brackets underneath, and that is the artist, who goes by the name Tuku, is what he's commonly known as, and he is, from what I can see, a very famous, quite prolific Zimbabwean musician. And this is on his own label, Tuku Music. So what is it? So it's to say, it's not your Nigerian funk, unfortunately, but it's got enough going on. So there's a guitar, bass, drums, him singing, and some female backing vocals that do that sort of call and response, or type music. So yeah, there's enough going on with this electric guitar, bass, drums, singing, but it's not a funky, but it's okay. So I've got a few more by him, I think, to explore. Next up, not particularly rare at all, but interesting to find, is a Booker T and the MGs Soul Limbo. This is an 80s press, but in pretty nice. Well, the cover's pretty nice. There's a few pops and clicks on it, but nothing too bad. So from this, I would say the standout for me was Hang 'Em High. So it starts off with a couple, mainly it's a mix of covers and a few originals. Be Young, Be Foolish, Be Happy, La La Means I Love You are both nice, very pleasant. Hang 'Em High, I thought had something going on. The Eleanor Rigby, I don't know what it is. Booker T and the MGs, some of their Beatles covers, although I've got Macklemore Avenue, which I do enjoy that whole album. I think when they just stick, or when even bands stick Beatles covers randomly in, it just doesn't often work for me, particularly instrumental covers. But what did stand out for me were Over Easy and Heads or Tails, which are originals by the band. And obviously I was familiar with Soul Limbo, but if I'm honest, because I'm an English cricket fan, I only ever think of that song as a theme song, not a song, so I can't kind of get into it as a song. But the other two originals I thought were really good, and they were probably the two originals and Hang 'Em High were the standouts on this album for me. Okay, next up is this, introducing the Afro Blues Quintet +1. So this is from '66. It's a mono press from what I can tell, and it's sort of bossa jazz cocktail, some covers of well-known tunes like Summertime, Walk On By, In Crowd, but done slightly differently. They're not straight ahead and obvious, and quite an interesting. It's on the Orange CBS label. Quite an interesting album. Bit of cocktail fun. Next up is Third World, 96 Degrees in the Shade. I've previously had Journey into Addis by Third World. I bought it at a boot fair one year, didn't really get on with it and got rid of it. And there were 4 or 5 Third World albums in the box that I got, and I've got, I'm not keeping the others apart from the one comp, I think. But this one I really enjoyed. This is I think their second album, and I really enjoyed it. It's the hit off of it is 1865 open bracket 96 Degrees in the Shade, which I was familiar with. The rest I wasn't really familiar with, and I think it's really good. Better than their later stuff, which I think is a little bit pop light reggae. This is much more enjoyable to me. And then finally, a bit of a strange one. The Berkshire Youth Jazz Orchestra, as performed at Bracknell Jazz Festival, South Hill Park, from what I can tell, 1980 or 1981. I think this is a private press type release of a jazz orchestra doing contemporary jazz, and you think, nah. But then I read on the liner notes, the organisers and members of BYJO would like to give special thanks for their interest and encouragement to the following: Dick Morrissey, Jim Mullen, Ian Carr, Michael Garrett, Keith Tippett, Bob Wellings, Bob Burns, Ronnie Scott, John Dankworth, John Cumming. So within there are some of the greats of contemporary UK, or traditional and contemporary UK jazz, which that piqued my interest. And it is, it's contemporary jazz. It's got a Joe Zawinul song, or tune. It's got a number of tunes written by members of the orchestra, different soloists, and yeah, I found it really enjoyable. It's private press. The pressing's not fantastic, but it's okay. Really enjoyable. it's not a, you know, don't get me wrong, this is not a lost English jazz classic. I think you can pick it up for about £5 if you want it. It's got some liner notes written by Dick Morrissey, who was in If, is it, and a few other UK sort of jazz rock bands. What I found a little bit interesting as an aside, and probably only appeals to people in the UK, and people in the UK who are sad like me and watch the UK's most popular Saturday entertainment show. So in one of his liner notes, Dick Morrissey says, David Arch moves through this with warm and delicate feeling, so much soul and that blues feel that all great jazzmen have. His solo has everything. I predict David Arch is going places. So for those of you who watch Strictly Come Dancing on a Saturday night, and Dave Arch and his orchestra, that's where Dave Arch has gone to, or David Arch has gone to from when he was probably a 20-year-old youth in the Berkshire Jazz Orchestra. So yeah, a little bit of an aside. So yeah, so that's the first 5 records. Say interesting. One thing, so I don't know whether I should say this, but I kind of felt like, wow, these records are in the collection of someone who's, you know, in their 70s or 80s. That's really weird, you know, to see some of these sorts of records, reggae and soul and stuff like that. And then I thought, Dale, you're 54, Dale. You're buying brand new releases coming out by artists. In 20 years' time, if someone, you know, would you feel offended if someone said, oh wow, he bought Wolf Alice, or he bought King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard? What's he thinking? So yeah, so that was a bit, yeah, I checked myself with those thoughts. So interesting. Okay, VC, I'll leave it there. I say I may come back if there's any more interesting stuff comes out. I may do the occasional video, or I just may blend these in with my finds videos, which is probably more likely. Cheers, bye.